Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette. We're so glad you're with us to stay curious. Staying curious today with one of our number one fans out there in YouTube land, John Barrile, the astronaut files. He writes your notes on there.
Yep.
John, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Well, great to see you again. We've met
Yeah.
before. This is your second appearance on
Right.
Stay
Yeah.
Curious, and we're glad to have you here. John is a space geek just like all of you out there. But guess what? He's spending his time here on the coast to see a few rocket launches
Yep.
and get
Yeah.
some good
Go
sun.
see Starliner.
You can see the Starliner on Monday.
That'll be
Excitement's kind of
nice.
building up a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit, isn't
Yeah.
it?
It always does.
It always does.
Yep.
So we want y'all to chime in your questions there to John from maybe a space geek angle, like Steve Jokums up there at Lake County Spaceport, or Dave Stange up there in Michigan. It's great to meet those two folks during our Shuttle Fest, and I kind of expected maybe you to show your face up at Shuttle
Yeah, I
Fest.
really wish I could have made it. It looked like a good time.
Well, we did have a good time, and I know you're going to make the future ones.
Yep.
We're already planning Shuttle Fest 4,
Yep.
April 12th and
Very
13th. And it's going to be about the Hubble telescope plus 35 years
Wow.
in there. So John and I are just going to throw
Good.
up a few pictures of his vacation around here and just talk a little bit off the cuff. One thing that always strikes me, John, is when I'm down here, we're immersed in the space industry. But when I go back up to my adopted home in Tennessee or my real home in Ohio, people don't care that much about it. How
Right.
is it up in Limestone, New York, where you're from?
I'm probably the only person within 50 miles that knows what we're discussing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
Knows an Axiom space program from a Boeing.
right. Yeah. 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 They don't know. They don't know a whole lot about rockets, and none of them have ever seen a launch. To be truthful with you.
Yeah. And
You
how
know.
many have you seen?
I'm on number 62.
62.
Yeah.
We're going to see a
And
picture of that.
should be a couple more coming this week. And then Starliner. I've seen Crew 1, Crew 2, Crew 7. I can say Starliner hopefully after Monday.
Good. So you've seen
Yeah.
the maiden flights of these
A lot of them.
spacecraft,
Yes. Yep.
and you saw some shuttle launches over the years?
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen probably 50 of those.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been from far away usually. I was in Jacksonville for a while, and then St. Augustine, but we used to jump in a truck and drive down here every once in a while and watch them go off and
Yeah.
turn around and drive back.
Yeah, I never did. I saw John Glenn's Mercury launch as an 8-year-old boy, and then went until I saw a Falcon 9 launch 7 years ago. I was down for a couple scrubs.
Yeah.
But we want to talk a little bit about some space news going on and have some fun with it. But wanted to let everybody know that our charity auction is Saturday. This is the 32nd auction that this museum has conducted. And John, you bought many an item to help us keep our doors open.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you very much. What
Yeah.
do you like to collect?
I collect moonwalkers.
Yeah.
Anybody from the Apollo program, shuttle astronauts. I probably have close to 60 different astronaut autographs.
Right?
I have 9 of the moonwalkers.
You got a couple this weekend. I know we're going to see
Yep.
a picture of you with an astronaut that loves to hang 10 on his spacewalks.
Yep.
Jim Newman.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay,
very
so-
nice guy. Very nice guy.
We'll see a picture of that in a moment. Well, our auction is Saturday. You can bid now, pre-bid. As John knows, if you want that NASA numbered photo of Buzz Aldrin there at the lunar module leg.
Yep.
You're willing to give $400 for it. That's what you put your bid in.
Yep.
But the bid might hit $275 and stall, and you get it for $300.
Right.
instead.
Yeah. You never know. You got to pay attention.
Yeah.
You got to watch when
And
your
there's some
items up.
bargains to be had. This auction is over 250 lots of just photographs.
Yep.
Have you previewed it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
bet on one of them.
Uh-huh.
I'm an Enterprise guy, so anything that has to do with Enterprise,
Oh, do ya?
I bet on. Yeah.
Okay.
And the very last photo is of free flight number 4.
It is. It is the last photo.
And I bet on that, and believe me, I will be watching.
Cool.
because
Well,
I
it
love
takes about a
Enterprise.
minute a lot, so this will probably go to about 5 o'clock, maybe even earlier than that. But there's a lot of photographs from the lunar orbiters.
Yes. Yeah, a
There's
lot of
some
famous.
surveyors spacecraft, a lot
Yeah.
of fame. Now these are photographs, not
Right.
lithographs. Come
Right.
right out of Johnson Space Center Laboratory or Jet Propulsion Laboratory, the Hubble Telescope.
Right.
Those come out of John Hopkins in the center there, the Hubble Telescope Institute. So these are the real deal. And John, you know that artwork, NASA artwork, has become legitimate artwork to put on walls and
Right. Yeah.
offices and in homes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I remember an astronomy a planetarium director friend of mine up in Johnson City, actually Kingsport, Tennessee. Uh, he was so happy one day when I saw him because he said, my wife allowed me to put up my Apollo patches I have framed in the living room. Okay.
That's amazing.
And it was a real breakthrough that his wife allowed some space stuff to go from his basement,
Right.
Man cave,
Okay,
space
yep.
cave, up into the living room. She
Yep.
thought that the colors would look pretty against the couch. And
Well,
stuff.
that's nice.
Can you relate to that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. My whole house is covered with nothing but autographs.
Yeah.
You know, everything from Star Trek to Moonwalkers.
So you're a
And,
Star Trek over Star Wars type of guy?
I don't really get into that because I like Star Wars too.
Yeah.
But Star Trek is my personal favorite, and
Yeah.
I'm a Trekkie.
I've been getting into Babylon 5 30 year ago.
That was a
program
nice
that-
program. I
that,
loved that too. That was a good
I
program.
never really got into that, and a friend
Yeah.
turned me on to that.
That
on-
and Battlestar Galactica and
yeah.
the old 80s stuff, you know?
But what the old lady stuff?
Old 80s.
Old 80s stuff.
Yes, I'm
But
sorry.
John, they never show people in weightlessness,
No.
or they never show them doing spacewalks
No.
to change out the ammonia tanks
Yeah,
or put new
not at
batteries
all.
on the thing.
It seems funny, doesn't it, that a mundane task like something like that, people like you and me are riveted to the TV
yeah, I'll
for
watch
that.
NASA
You know what
TV on
I'm
the
saying?
spacewalk.
And to those guys, it's taking the trash out or doing the dishes or, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But to us, it's very, very interesting stuff.
it is, because I think we realize the human element adds the human danger in there.
Right.
And John, they announced that the Russians did a spacewalk last week, and they said it was the 270th spacewalk at the space station.
Wow.
Now, when they say 270 spacewalk, that means times 2 human beings,
Right.
because they count one spacewalk as the event with 2 astronauts going out.
Right.
So we've done 540 individual
Wow.
human
That's
spacewalks,
incredible, isn't it?
without any
Yep.
loss of life.
Yeah.
Been a couple close calls.
Well, it's really funny when you think about how old them suits really are
Well,
that they have. Those suits are 20, 25 years old,
yeah, I
most
hadn't
of them.
thought about that.
You know what I'm saying? And they're still, they
Yeah.
still can use them. That's incredible. I mean, we buy a car and it's gone in 10 years. You know what I'm
Right, if
saying?
you're
But they get a $2 million spacesuit and it lasts for 30 years. That's incredible.
Well, and I've always said that's about NASA. Either the unmanned spacecraft breaks down, or
Right.
lasts 110 times longer.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
The
Look at Voyager. I mean, my God,
Voyager.
who would ever have
Look at the
thought
Hubble
of that?
Telescope.
I remember when they launched Voyager.
That's right.
You know what I mean? It was a
77.
big deal in school.
Yeah.
Everybody watched them launch it, basically.
Yeah.
It was a
And
real
now-
big
now
deal.
We're pushing 50 years.
And now it's it's
so
like
forth.
wow.
Well, there's some Voyager spacecraft photos that are on this auction
Mhm.
that you can buy. There's a lot of Hubble Telescope original photographs, and there's some good 11 by 14s on there. Like I say, that you take them to your framer and put them up on your wall, and I guarantee you people won't just pass by them; they'll look at them.
They'll check them
Because
out.
that's the fascinating thing, I think, John, is that even though people might not be enamored to the space program like you and me, it does draw their attention.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, as naive as some people are about it,
Right.
it's a very interesting subject breaker and so forth.
Right.
And,
Yeah. Yep.
in there. Well, let's look at a news item here today that we love talking about astronaut birthdays on Stay Curious, John. And today's Victor Jerome Glover's 48th birthday. Okay, this African American was born April 30th, 1976 in Pomona, California, and is a captain in the U.S. Navy, and he is assigned to his second flight as a pilot of Artemis II, scheduled for launch no earlier than late 2025. And don't hold your breath on that one, because I'll bet it'll be deep into 2026 when that happens. But Artemis II scheduled just to fly by the moon for about 4,000 miles away in a big loop. But it's a 10-day mission to check out that important life
And
support
won't they be
system.
the farthest away
It
ever?
will be the furthest ever, exactly.
Yeah.
About over 250,000.
Now, how much would that be for the whole from Earth to where they're going to?
A little over 260,000.
Yeah.
If the moon's 240,000 miles away at that moment, and they're
Right.
4,000 or 5,000 miles away.
On the other side. Right.
But yeah, still.
Wow. That's incredible to think those people are going to be going around there.
Yeah.
And on the other side, that's all do or die, right?
Exactly.
There's no way they can call for help or anything like that.
I think they're going to be in communication. They're going so far away from the backside
They can go over
that
it.
they won't be occulted by the moon. They'll be above or below it.
I got you. Okay.
They'll stay in. Which is, again, why don't they orbit the moon? Well, that's a whole other different parameters of slowing it down and a whole different ball game. But then Artemis 3 is supposed to land on the moon.
Right.
And we'll be talking more about the Artemis program on Stay Curious as there are more congressional committees and so forth looking into the cost, what's been built for it. And I even heard Elon Musk say at a public talk that he doesn't think the Starship will be ready till 2029, 2030.
Wow.
Excuse me there. I was getting over a little bit of a cold over the weekend there. So, yeah, wow, because it's more complicated than people think.
Well, when they introduce the Starship, you got all them tanks that's got to come into the play. You know what I'm saying?
The fuel.
Now, wasn't the Space Launch System designed to shove that Orion around the moon?
Yes.
So it could do it in one shot.
Yes.
Theoretically.
But it's going to the gateway where it'll take the astronauts.
Right.
And then the Starship will come up.
Yeah.
And the Starship needs about 120 tons. 120 tons of fuel. 120,000 tons of fuel.
Yeah. We're talking 10 Starships. We'll have to hit a
it.
Depot.
Yeah, 10 Starships will have to hit a depot to fuel this thing, because they can only take up 50 tons
at a time. Right, yeah.
And these 1,200 or to 1,500 tons to fill it up.
Yeah.
They can't launch it filled up.
Right.
And this is to land on the moon and get off the moon.
Right.
All right.
But now they're going to be sending cargoes that way too. They're talking about.
It's a lot on the fly. A lot is going to be revealed, I think, before the end of this year exactly.
Yeah.
Where they stand.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, why not send your luggage ahead?
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Anybody that's smart would do something
in
like
a habitat.
that. Yeah, and it's already there, and then just all you got to do is hook them together.
That's right.
Bam, you're done.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Let's finish up about Victor Glover here. It's his birthday. He's 48, so he's going to be 49 or 50 when he goes on this Artemis trip. He was the first African American to take up residence on the International Space Station. Now there were 5 or 6 shuttle astronauts who were Black Americans that were on the space station for a week or 2 weeks at the most. And you got Satchel. You got we've got who's going up on 9. Stephanie Wilson has been on the space station 3 times. She'll be going up on Crew Dragon 9 this fall.
Yeah.
Glover was part of Expedition 64 and 65. We're up to Expedition 71 now. 168 days in space. He did 4 spacewalks, all right? And he's a Navy man. He's one of those guys that's done 400 aircraft carrier landings.
Wow.
And those guys say, which one do you want me to tell you about?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
'cause they
About
remember
every
damn
one of them.
And his call sign is Ike. All right, now baby boomer like me thinks Ike. That's Eisenhower, President Eisenhower.
Exactly.
No, he's called Ike. Given the name was given to him by one of his commanding officers, which stands for I know everything. Ike. Okay.
That's hilarious.
So a smart man and a confident man up there. And here he is. There's Victor Glover right there again. And up there in space. And this is a stat for y'all out there. He and his lovely wife Donna have 4 daughters.
Wow.
So here's a man gonna go be one of the 4 humans to go the furthest from Earth ever, and he's got leaving 5 women on Earth, his wife and 4 daughters that will have their fingers and toes crossed every moment of it there. So you don't think a lot about that, do we, John? Of the human element of the families and so forth.
No. That's tough stuff there.
They all are making tremendous sacrifices
Yeah.
and putting their families through a lot of stress.
Can you imagine the Apollo 13 wives?
Yeah.
I'll bet that was pretty stressful.
Well, it was, and that's why Marilyn Lovell was portrayed by a very good actress in that, because it was the angst, the pathos that they go through is entirely different, because here their husband or their wife or daughter or son are up there and they're confident in what they do. That fear's been eliminated from them in training.
Right.
It's like Charlie Walker, astronaut, sat here and told me, Mark, I've died 200 times in a simulator. You know,
right.
I ain't worried about the real thing.
Right.
I'm just going to be focused on my mission there. So,
wow.
Happy birthday, 48th birthday to Victor Glover. True, and a hell of an athlete too. He was an athlete in high school, all-star, and then he went to, he was at the, trying to think of what other colleges he was in sports in, the Naval Academy, and so forth and so on. So I hope he has a great birthday. Training today. He's training with 3 other astronauts. I know Christina Cook is one of them, and there's a Canadian, and then another rookie American.
Hanson, I think.
Well, there you are out there, and when you posted that on Facebook, you said, I'm home.
Yep.
Why do you feel at home at Kennedy Space?
It's just, I don't know. I don't know really what it is, but you can feel it.
Yeah.
You know it.
Yeah.
Everybody does. You know what I mean? Whenever they get to where they're going. And
I have been out there for almost a month.
No kidding.
And I feel like sometimes when I take a break from it, I haven't been out there since the eclipse trip and all that stuff.
Right.
But you kind of feel, particularly when you're a local.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a little bit arrogant because I go through the gates and I see everybody stopping and starting to take pictures. You know, they're tourists, like you right there, getting that shot of the rocket garden behind you.
Yep.
And I say to myself, gee, I can come out here anytime I want. And I remember those days, John, where when I left the Space Center, and I only visited 5 times before I moved here. I remember looking at that rear view mirror as I'm driving and just can't stop looking at that rear view mirror for that last peak.
Right. Yeah.
Of something that said Kennedy Space Center behind here.
Yeah.
One more peak of those rockets.
I get the Atlanta pass. That way I can go. I'll go 14 days in a row if I want to. You know what I mean?
Good. Well, there's been a lot of changes out there in the past.
Oh yeah.
Week.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of work to
There's
that
another
place.
picture of you out there. They took old President Kennedy and the fountain away.
He's still there. He's still there, but it's in the virtual.
Absolutely. What do you think
and
of that?
It's a 3D. Boy, that's nice. It's real nice. The only thing I didn't like was they don't have any benches, so you can sit down and watch it. You know what I mean?
They are lacking for benches in a lot of places there.
Yes.
And
they should have a couple of benches sitting in front so you could, I mean, not right in front of the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Back off the back, like over where the ticket things are. You could put a couple over there and people could sit there and watch it.
Well, how about out at the Saturn V Center? and where the beautiful statue of the Apollo 11 astronauts are, there's no benches around that either.
Yeah, that's
and there
crazy,
shade
isn't it?
trees and stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, I'll sit on that astroturf there.
Right.
I mean, I'm an
Yeah.
old man. I can't stand up all the time.
Exactly.
And now they
Yeah.
have plenty of benches around the Saturn V.
Right.
You can sit around there, and of course the restaurants
Right.
there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got a new restaurant. I haven't even seen the new restaurant they opened at the
That's it.
Saturn V.
Saturn V. I haven't been out there yet.
Okay.
That's probably next.
Yeah, you got to get on that, and it's easy not to go out there.
Right.
But once you do, you say, "Why don't I go out here every time?" Well, it's
Right.
a 20-minute bus ride out
Right.
there, and
Yeah.
20 minutes back. And,
Nice scenery though.
I
Sometimes
know.
you see Blue Origin. Sometimes you see. I mean, like the last time when I was here in August, they had Blue Origin had theirs open, and you could see the rocket they were working on.
Mhm.
I mean, most people wouldn't know what they were looking at from a silo or water tank or something like that, but I knew what it was,
Uh-huh.
and it was interesting. And the
Yeah.
bus went way too fast.
You
I wanted
snapping
it to go.
pictures and
I wanted to go slower or stop for a little while right here, but they wouldn't do it.
Well, we're here in paradise for sure. It's why Selvin's pinch hitting today for Marty. Thank you, Selvin.
Well,
And we picked the little pimple here. Right there's where we're at right now, talking to Space Coast there. Never thought I'd end up here in a million years, really. But I'm so blessed that I can be involved with this, particularly with our program here. You've been a big fan of Stay Curious. How did you find us?
I don't even remember, to be truthful with
Yeah.
you, but I was watching. Podcasts started out as something that I didn't even know what they were. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden, everybody knows what a podcast is.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
thought
I'm saying?
podcasts like a seed pod,
Right?
cast
Yeah.
away, or
Yeah.
whatever.
I had no clue what that was, but I was searching, and one day I found you,
Yeah,
and I'm so glad.
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. This is a great show.
Well,
a lot
thank
of people like it.
We're trying to. We have a lot of people that have been loyal to us for the last 4 years. I believe this is episode 1038.
Yeah.
that
Incredible.
We've done. I probably missed about 8 of those, but
Yeah.
we even did some flat mark things like flat Stanley where I was on the road, and
Right.
we've really been into it, and we're grateful for people like you, John, that want to watch this program. We've monetized it.
Right.
I believe we made $15 last month. Okay, so keep it up. And
Raking it in.
Delvin's our bookkeeper here.
That's
so,
it.
I'll have to renegotiate my contract. Here
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
soon, okay?
Better sharpen up that pencil.
Yeah, they offered me 10% at one point. And,
Right.
And I was holding out for 12.
12,
Gee,
right?
you know?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
It certainly isn't about the money. It's about the passion that we have
Yeah.
for sharing space history.
Yep.
And we've got a historical moment to share here because, John, 65 years ago, right now, this week, 65 years ago, the Mercury 7 astronauts were doing their first week of work in 1959. Think about that. This was the first official work week for my heroes that were on my bedroom walls. There you got left to right, it looks like Alan Shepard and John Glenn kneeling down there in front of some molded seats that they were going to have their bodies there. Wally Shiraz looking down with Scott Carpenter, the bow ties Gordon Cooper, there's Deke Slayton, Gus Grissom, and that would be administrator, oh my gosh, I forget his name. He's not the NASA administrator, but that would be, he's one of the muckety mucks of the Manned Spacecraft Center that they
That must have been for seats, huh?
Yeah, that was looking at some of their seats that they were going to mold for
seating.
them.
Yeah, they were.
And the first week was at this building. And you take the tour, you can go see Hangar S. All right, the Hangar S there literally became the cradle of America's early human space flights. It was the hub of all activity for the Mercury astronauts for the first year, including the chimpanzees that were housed back in one of the back areas back there.
Right, yeah.
And the astronaut quarters were back in there.
Oh,
right?
no kidding.
In their classes. So they started complaining about the smell of the primates and noise and stuff like that. So you know what the original Mercury astronauts did? They pulled their money together and they bought the Holiday Inn at Cocoa Beach and took up residence there.
No
All
kidding.
right. And that Holiday Inn's now Comfort Inn across from the Hilton. And a good place to eat Siam orchids there.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into the lobby area, and they have a tribute to the Mercury astronauts.
Wow.
This was their hotel there.
Yeah.
So,
Amazing.
it had the altitude chamber, the interior procedures trainer, the suit room, crew quarters was in this building. Still is a building there. But the first week, these American heroes reported to work. The first day, Monday, was check-in. The next day was a general briefing. The third day was classes on spacecraft configuration and escape methods. Then they got into the other things like how they're going to mold their seats to them. And besides classroom studies, unscheduled activities involved 3 hours of flying time and 4 hours of athletics every day. And athletics was a big deal for the Mercury astronauts. So to stay in shape, that was, of course, one reason why they were chosen was their physique. But each one of them wanted to be the first American to go to space at this point. And they didn't know who it was going to be. And of the 7, only Alan Shepard walked on the moon. They've all passed away. The last one was John Glenn at age 95, and gosh, I believe Glenn was 4 or 5 years ago. So that's the kind of space history we love digging up here, John.
Exactly.
To just kind of look back and keep
interesting, very interesting.
Keep our history alive there. So, well, you of course hit the beach out there. Tell everyone a little bit about the vacation time here. We're kind of after spring break, so prices go down a little bit. But
it wasn't bad.
Are you camping out?
Yeah, I'm camping at Jetty Park.
Jetty Park, all right.
And it's real nice because I can go over to the pier and watch the rocket launches and do all that over there.
Were you out there yesterday?
Fishing.
Of course you were out there yesterday. Yeah. So I had a business meeting in Cocoa Beach yesterday afternoon. And as usual, after 5 o'clock, I went out to Buchanan Beach over by Cape Canaveral, and but there's 2 big boats in the dock, all right. And when I got out there at 5 o'clock, because I was going to go out there and take a few pictures of them, but when I got out to the beach, I saw one in the distance, the Mardi Gras. That largest one was docked in there, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one was a Disney one that was just coming out of port. So were you around to see those boats leave yesterday?
I think I did see one of them come by. Yeah, I was there probably, I don't know exactly what time it was, to be truthful with you.
You got up early and then hit the ground running on
it.
But John, when people go out to the Space Coast there and they look to the north, what the heck are they seeing out there in the distance?
That's part of it all.
That's Pad 36.
Yep, part of it all.
That is the Jeff Bezos Blue Origin.
Have they started work on that?
Oh yeah, it's ready to go. No,
wow.
those are the launch tower, and on the right is the water tower, the largest one in the world.
Right.
Okay, you can just barely see in there the lighthouse.
Right.
And the big building, the white building you see, that is part of the facility for the New Glenn rocket. And
wow.
You see the launch tower. They actually had a real New Glenn rocket out there for a fit check about a month ago.
Yeah, I read that.
But that is Pad 36, the famous pad where a lot of Atlas Centaurs were launched, including ones that took surveyor unmanned spacecraft to the moon and so forth.
Right.
And for those of you that get an occasional Amazon package at your doorstep, this is where your money goes.
That's it, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Bezos makes no bones about it.
He's going to launch that by September, huh?
Yeah.
I can't believe he can go that fast. I mean, I know they've been working on it for 10 years or so, but...
Well, it's about time. We thought they
Yeah.
were going to launch it last year,
I
and
see.
they've had some engine issues, but it's a lot of 3D printed engines.
Right.
The whole campus is across from Kennedy Space Center Visitors
Right.
Complex.
I go by it
That
every
grew
time.
up. I mean, it's just amazing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
They're building and building and building and building. They're putting in a new highway now.
Yes, I was going to say, you saw the new 4-lane highway
Yeah.
been paved
It's
on each
crazy.
side,
Yeah.
where there was just a 2-lane 7 years ago going
Yep.
in there.
Yeah.
Now they got,
Yeah. They're
uh,
moving right along.
but
That's for sure.
spend a lot of money on the infrastructure. But that is
You
where they're
got
going to
to.
build a space station
Yeah.
called the Blue Reef. That's where they're going to build the modules that I
Right.
think he wants to put into space. And those towers in the background are for a rocket that's over 300 feet tall,
Wow.
called New Glenn.
Yeah.
350
That'd be
feet
impressive.
tall. It is the size of a Saturn V rocket.
Yeah. That'd be impressive.
And it is huge, and we can't wait to see that
Yeah.
launch off our coast here.
I want to see Vulcan launch too.
Yes, Vulcan
Can't
launch.
wait to see that. Hopefully, I can come down for the Sierra Dream Chaser launch.
Well, good.
That would be a
We'll
good
look
one.
forward to seeing you for that too. Sierra Dream
Yeah,
Chaser,
yeah.
another one in the works. That's what's kind of hard to follow is as we're launching Boeing Starliner. Boeing has a contract with NASA to take people to the International Space Station. All right, we thought that was going to be launching 2 or 3 years ago. You've got SpaceX has the contract to take humans to the International Space Station, and then they sell their spacecraft to the billionaire Jared Isaacman.
Right.
Jared Isaacman has his own company
Right.
called, I think, Polaris is his space
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
He did the St. Jude's
On the Inspiration 4.
4.
Yeah.
He was supposed to launch last summer and do a spacewalk, and don't know why
Right.
that's gotten delayed. Then you got the fourth entity out there is Axiom, a private company
Mhm.
that is leasing SpaceX rockets to go to build a space station that they're going to attach first to the International Space Station and then
Right.
break off.
Yeah.
So you got 4 complete entities in America that
Right,
that are
yeah.
taking humans to space. So
I'll tell you that SpaceX, the Dragon, I just read something this morning. They're offering like 2 launches to individuals.
really,
Yeah, where you can pay 55 million for you to go and 55 for your wife to go. Or
really,
yeah, but it's at the end of this year,
okay,
is what it said on the internet this morning. So
huh?
I could stumbled across that, and
Just
I was
a mere
like, "This can't
55
be
million.
right," you know.
That's-
I think that's what Bezos charges too, isn't it?
Something like that. It started at 20 million when Soyuz was ferrying international astronauts,
Right.
the Russians, to
Yeah.
their Mir space station and stuff. And then when they were charging us, it started at 20 million and ended up about 70 million.
Right,
In the
yeah.
End there.
I think-
We encourage any questions out there. We got anybody got something on their mind, Selvin? At the moment. All right. Hope everyone's enjoying. The astronaut file is how he signs his signature on there. John Barrile, glad to have you from Limestone, New York. Where is Limestone?
Limestone's in the southern tier of New York. Basically, it's all woods.
Okay.
It's, the state park.
Their
is there.
Pennsylvania border.
Yeah, right on the Pennsylvania. Erie's an hour and a half away from
Okay.
us.
Ooh.
Buffalo's an hour north.
So you're no stranger to feet of snow
No.
in the forecast. I mean, not
Nah.
inches, but feet.
I'll tell you lately, I mean, the last 4 or 5 winters, we've been pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I know we have not got anywhere near what we normally get. Because used to be when I was a kid, it was 92 inches a year.
Wow.
That's how much snow we got in
That's
my
8
area.
feet, folks.
Yeah.
About 8 feet.
And now we're lucky if we get 40, maybe 30. This year, I bet we didn't even get more than 30.
So are people talking climate change up there? What's the? There's some
They're
evidence
pretty
of that?
much deniers up there, if you know what I mean. So,
Don't let the
They-
facts get in the way of your
no,
opinion.
they don't care about the facts. That has nothing to do with what they're talking about, you know.
Right.
That's a funny thing. It's like rockets, you know. They all think it's a waste of money and they should be spending that on something else. They don't realize that everything they do, everything you have in your hand, comes from NASA. basically.
It really does.
I
And
mean,
you
your
know what?
cell phone, everything, anything.
They've yet to put
It's-
$1
it's-
million in $100 bills in a rocket and blast it into orbit.
Right, yeah,
All right.
exactly.
It seems like those money
Yeah.
is made here on well-paid jobs for
Right.
people.
Yeah. Well, not
intelligent
only
people.
that, but the repercussions that happen after they're back. You know what I mean? How long does that go on? It goes on forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop after 2 years. It doesn't stop after 10 years. It keeps right on rolling. Look at Bigelow. You know what I'm saying?
Bigelow Space Company.
Yeah. They were, it was all sponsored by NASA originally, and now, I mean, they're out of business, but look who's taking over. Sierra Space has got one that they blow up now. Where do you think all that come from?
Right. These are habitats.
I
I think
mean,
Bigelow's
somebody-
still in the game. Maybe
Is
they
he?
sold it to them, but they're, talk about just different
Wow.
ways to that have integrated
But I mean,
into our
that's
society.
all generating money. You know what I'm saying? That's called an economy, and that's how we
That's right.
get rolling. And once we get rolling, the space economy is going to be. They think the internet was a big thing.
Right.
This is going to be, whoa, 15,000 times better than that.
Well, it will be. And all these companies, like our hometown rocket company via space, they've got, though they haven't launched their first low Earth orbit rocket yet, they've got 20 companies lined up to be customers.
Right.
All right. And so I enjoy talking to John about stuff like this on there because it comes from the heart, just like Steve Jokem's up there on our show. Talking about his passion for space, and it's hard to find people to really connect with that aren't gonna think that
It's hard to talk to people about it. Yeah.
Or,
You don't
that
understand,
it's a
or
waste of
they're
money.
the hoaxers. You know what I mean? The moon hoaxers.
Yeah,
it's unreal. You know, some of the stuff that you hear out there.
Well, we've had a problem with some of the moon hoaxers here on the Apollo 16. They really jumped on one of Chris Callie's beautiful pieces of artwork. And hi, Chris. And I mean, I blocked at least 50 people.
No kidding.
That they think
that hard they were.
Oh yeah, yeah. Some
No
people actually
kidding.
said our museum is an embarrassment for taking people's money for phony artifacts.
Wow,
is what one. And
that's
I
incredible.
just simply
have they ever even been here?
Right.
You know what I mean? Never been here, probably.
And if the moon landings were a hoax, then I want all you Apollo space workers to give back the money that you paid.
I think we're almost past that point, because now India took pictures of the old moon landing spots, and you can see you can actually see something there. Now, who put that there if we didn't do it?
And Lunar Orbiter
and then
had pictures of it too.
Where they have the lunar rover going up and down, you can see where they moved and come back. And I mean, come on.
It boils down to education, and the people that are the naysayers don't have much of an education.
Right.
And,
well, they haven't got much more to do. You know what I mean?
I've run into some flat earthers too, John. And
I have too.
And I go, but gee, you don't talk about the flat Mars or the flat moon. It's just the Earth is flat.
Yeah, exactly.
And as Carlton Bailey knows, the Earth can't be flat. If it was flat, cats would have knocked everything off of it.
Right.
Now.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Right, CB?
The water would be all gone.
Yeah, indeed. Well, let's look at some of the Space Geek adventures you've had this week, John. Who's that astronaut shaking hands with you there?
It's James Newman.
Newman?
Yeah. Very nice guy. Me and him had a good 10-minute talk. I was surprised that Robert, his handler, I thought it was going to be your buddy there, Nick.
Yeah, Nick Thomas.
Because he was there last week.
Right.
And I thought it was going to be him, and it turned around, it was Robert. He's the guy that talks whenever I go out to Banana Creek. He's the guy that sits there, this is, and explaining the launch and all that stuff. And I didn't recognize him when I was standing in line, but as soon as he talked, I was like, I know this guy.
Yeah, we got Mark Smith out there too. Robert got. We need to get him on the program here too. Who am I thinking of? Bart Martindale's another good friend out there, and Steve. I'm trying to think. It'll come to me here. But yes, we love going out there and seeing our
Yeah.
astronauts. Newman's a surf boy.
Yeah.
And he hung 10, he said, on one of his EVAs on the Hubble telescope
Wow.
out there. And he's a very affable guy. He likes
Yeah.
coming out there. He's in the cycle out there. Usually out
Yeah.
there 3 times a year on there. So
Yeah,
you
very
get
knowledgeable.
autographs, you get your picture made,
Yeah,
you know.
very knowledgeable.
And that's a fun thing. I think it's
You
a
get to
great
talk to
program
them,
that
and
Delaware
yeah,
North
it
does
is.
out
It's
there.
an excellent program.
'Cause
That and the breakfast. I like the breakfast with an astronaut too. You get to chat with a guy, and you know, you have most of the time you have family around, so I just let them go ahead and talk, and then when everybody's done, then I talk to them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about all kinds of stuff like SpaceX and Orion and SLS and all those the good points, you know?
That's right. That's right. So we have Jim Newman there. We love him. He'll be in the chair here one day. He's trying to find some time on his visits to be on Stay Curious. I forget. I think it's 3 times in space.
4.
4. Okay,
Yeah,
4. Did very experienced spacewalker, and love sharing that experience with people out there. Well, let's look at 3 of your launches here that you got. This is a great photograph. I've never even thought to take this picture. Where are you and what's going on here, John?
I'm down at Gators on the pier. It's just a outside tiki bar, and I'll sit there and they bring in the old boosters, pick them up off the ship, put them down, fold the legs up on them, lock them into place, lay them down, and get ready to transport them back to refill. And I just happened to be on this side of it when I took the picture.
Great shot.
Yeah,
Good shot.
it turned out really well. It was luck, I'm telling you right now, Mark. It was all luck, but boy, it sure turned out nice.
That's a nice one there.
Yeah.
And boy, these used boosters get so sooty looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know if they even wash them
I'm still
off.
trying to find out where the number is. There's a number on every one of them, and I can't ever find it, but it's got to be on the back side, must be.
Okay.
Because almost every time I go down there, you can see SpaceX.
Yeah.
You know, the lettering on it. So I'm thinking it must be behind it.
Yeah, the tail number's there.
Right, yeah.
There's another noisy
Yeah.
rocket you saw going up the
that
other
was
day.
Sunday night, I believe.
This just gives you an
real
idea
cloudy.
of just sort of the snapshots of being
Yep.
here on the Space
You know,
Coast.
there I was at Jetty Park,
Okay.
and I was watching it from Jetty Park, and it was really nice.
Yeah, it can look cool going
Because,
through the clouds.
Yeah, when
there.
the clouds, it was just, each cloud would light up, and then it would dim, and then it would light up, and then you'd see the rocket coming through it.
And there's another one
Yep.
we had the other day. So
Yep.
you've seen 3 launches since you've been
Yep,
here, huh?
yeah. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
trying to get it up to 65, 66.
Good, good, good. Do you keep these in a notebook or scrapbook?
Yeah, I got them in a container, you know, that I had my problems with some pictures that went bad on me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, from the atmosphere and stuff. So
Mhm.
I try to keep everything locked up and tight into something that's, you know, it won't be contaminated by any water or anything.
Mm-hmm. You picked up a little souvenir here.
Yeah, that's Starliner, a little model. It's a 350.
That's being launched by an
350.
Atlas.
Yep.
And is that the configuration? Are they
That's
gonna
it,
have
and that's the only configuration they use that for. It's the Atlas 5 N22.
Uh-huh.
The N stands for astronaut rated.
Okay.
The 2 stands for the 2 boosters on the side, and the other 2 stands for the second stage has 2 RL10s.
Okay. Okay. I thought it'd be fun to show the pass that they gave you. You sprung some money to go see a VIP pass. Where are you going to launch?
That's at Banana Creek. I'll be in the bleachers at Banana Creek,
Okay.
which is a great place to watch. I've seen a lot of launches from there. And it's
Uh,
worth every penny, let me tell you. Every single penny.
How much is it?
That one I think was $70,
Okay.
which isn't bad.
No,
and then
you
I have
$150.
I have a annual pass, an Atlantis pass,
Uh-huh.
so I get in free anytime.
Right.
You know, and then I don't pay for parking.
Right.
You get 10% off of the stuff you buy.
Yeah,
it's well worth
the
the
pass is $125 or
Yeah.
something a year.
It's well
but,
worth it.
you don't pay the $10 parking, and you
No.
get 10% off.
Yeah, and you can take people and take 10% off of what they pay, and
you feel like
you can't beat that
feel like you
path.
own the place when you go
Yeah,
through the gate
exactly.
there.
I'm home.
I'm home. That's right.
That's
You're
what I
home.
always say when I get there.
Well,
I'm home.
I want to see your pictures Monday so I can put them on our Facebook and on the show.
Okay.
But it's a 10:34 launch, I think.
Yeah.
It's after 10:30
Yeah.
at night.
It's going to be dark.
And which sometimes.
And that's from 41, I believe, isn't it? SL 41, Slick 41. I'm thinking it is.
I guess it would be,
Yeah.
not 34.
No.
United Launch Alliance, I guess,
Right.
would be from 34.
Right.
There's the astronauts, Butch Wilmer on the left and Suni Williams on the right. And in the middle is Spanky. That's Mike Fink. Mike Fink was, he was really a visible social media star on his shuttle flights. He did a lot of things with kids in space on the International Space Station. Very experienced. He's the backup if Butch or Suni gets sick here in the next week there. But both Butch and Suni have been waiting over a decade. She's waited 14 years and he 12 years since their last flight. All right. Which I've voiced my personal opinion that, to me, why do you want to keep two great experienced astronauts like that grounded for so long?
Right, yeah.
But they're in the astronaut crew program,
Right.
to share astronauts.
Well, they got rotations,
And
don't they?
they took it, but they're going to be historically the maiden flight of anything. And then Fink there's as like I said, a backup. Some things change and some things don't change. And one of the things that changes, that doesn't change, is in the back are the same devices used by Apollo
No
to
kidding.
check their instruments out there in the crew.
Must
there.
be a vacuum setup.
Yep. Just
some
had
kind.
Marty walk in the room here
Yeah.
from a something in there. Hello, Marty. Yeah. Okay.
Big chunk of meat cut out of my face.
Oh,
That's not good.
well, he's just with the skin doctor, huh?
So dermatologist.
All right. All right. Well, good to have Marty here, and Marty and I get back in the groove here this week as he's been on vacation and I've been running around chasing the eclipse there, but. Boy, we wish Godspeed to these astronauts, okay?
Yes, definitely.
It's not and even I heard Wilmer today on a social media story say that telling the media, don't expect this to be a perfect flight.
Right.
There's always things that we have to shake down
Yep.
on the maiden flight there.
Yep.
And the main thing is they get this Starliner up to the International Space Station. Probably going to take a day to do it, and they're going to be up there about 10 days. And then get them back safely. But John, I think they're going to land in a unique way.
Yeah, coming down on airbags
Airbags.
and on the land.
Yeah.
That's out west somewhere, huh?
And that's what the story said. Somewhere in southwest
West.
U.S. It
Yeah,
didn't
I
say
would think it would be
Utah or
Utah,
maybe
that's
Mexico.
what I would
or
think so, too.
usually Utah is kind of in a
flat. It's flat at least.
But the
That's what-
parachutes are going to bring them so far down, and
Yeah.
when they hit, they're going to deploy these airbags.
Yeah.
Much like the Blue Origin is
That's
bringing back their.
that's that's going to be the first time American astronauts land like that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's always been water.
Well, technically, Blue Origin did it, with the suborbital ones.
Right.
All
Yeah.
right, but that's suborbital. But yeah, these will be the first Americans brought back on land that wasn't on wheels.
Right.
You got 133 shuttle landings. all
Right. Yeah.
That were on land. So,
Right. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
You got to count that. But
Yeah. It's
so
going to be a lot of firsts.
So it will be a lot of firsts, and I'll
Be
be
an awful
watching it from start to finish, and we'll be talking about that. Well, something in the news today was that the Hubble telescope has been shut down, launched 34 years ago this month. Of course, doing this amazing science. It's moved around by gyroscopes, okay, not gas jets. That was smart, but it has 3 gyroscopes on it, and one of them's failed. So they shut it down just to check out and see if they can bring this one back up to snuff. They've had trouble with it before, but the Hubble can work on just one of 3 gyroscopes still. So the end is not in sight for this amazing scientific instrument there.
Was that the problem when the shuttle went up to fix it? was
The last
those?
shuttle mission did replace all the gyros.
Did they?
Yeah, but that was STS-125 in 2009, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's been a good 15 years
Yeah.
that nothing's been done to it.
Right.
And that's
It's a
where
harsh environment out there.
that's where I hope either Jared Isaacman has been talking about his space company going up and bringing Hubble at least to a service area,
Right.
maybe near the International Space Station,
Right.
where it could be serviced again, because I'm sure the solar panels are beat up, and
Yeah.
we went, about every 4 years we would see it and upgrade it,
Right.
but it hasn't. No one's laid their eyes on it in 15 years.
Right.
But there's some of the wonderful discoveries of it there in it with the Webb telescope. So we were talking about that you're a nature lover. You go out to you have a favorite campsite that you go out to.
Yeah. I go to a place called Bear Claw.
Bear Claw.
Yeah, and it's right off the Quaker Lake. It's a park.
So they have a pastry
State
shop
park.
there.
No,
So I like
no.
the Bear Claws.
These are real bears that come walking down
Ooh,
through.
okay,
Yeah,
all
you
right.
got to be careful with your food. You don't
Yeah,
want to leave it out, because if you do, you're going to come out and there's going to be a bear
Right.
sitting there eating it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yogi Bear, maybe.
no, it's
Boo-boo.
not. You don't want to go with these guys. You don't want to screw with these guys. They'll rip you limb from limb.
Well, and you've seen a few, I gather.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
see them every year.
Huh.
Yeah, I walk out and there's one walking across the road. He'll walk down to the water and get some water and then walk back. As long as he doesn't smell any food,
Mm-hmm.
they don't bother you. They don't even stop. They don't look. They don't care.
Okay.
But if you got food out, especially if it's honey or something like that,
Yeah.
you better look out, because I've seen them rip a camp apart.
Is that where you saw the total eclipse of the sun?
Yes. Yes. Went over there. It was a nice day, but it was cloudy. And I didn't think we were actually going to see it. And just as it started to come across, the clouds went, and it was a awe God moment, one of those deals where the sun opens up, and it was good. And we seen it all the way down to just before the totality.
Uh-huh.
And then we lost it
In the clouds.
in the clouds. But you could see the sun underneath the clouds coming up when it was going on the other side.
Right.
You could see it right underneath the clouds. You could see the sun coming up.
Right. The
It was,
shadow.
yeah,
crossing
the shadow
across. Yeah,
crossing
that
across
was very
it. That was
interesting to me, too.
incredible. Very
Looking to
incredible.
the west, and you saw darkness, and then that shadow suddenly brightens up, and then as the eclipse ends, you look to the east, and you see the shadow going in that
Yep,
direction.
yeah,
there. It's
it was
very-
incredible.
Well, we're
Once in a
lucky. I've seen
lifetime.
2 of them, and
Yeah, I have too.
in my lifetime now, right here in America, and that's good for me.
Yeah,
I'm
I've seen
very,
2 of them too. I hope to see a third one.
very blessed to do that. Of course,
That'll
there's
be
2 a
20
year
years.
somewhere in the world. that you
Right,
can
yeah.
Book a tour to go.
Yeah.
But you and I love to look up, and we're going to end our show here a little bit with encouraging people to look up. You can see the space station. Usually once a month, it's in the sky in the evening twilight for 4 or 5 days, and in the morning twilight for 4 or 5 days every month.
Right.
And then that other 2 weeks, it's just it's always
far
in the
away.
daytime sky.
Right.
But Spot the Station is a place that you can go. There's other sites. There's an app for that on your smartphone. Just Google it and your apps and download one. I saw the Chinese space station Tiangong
Wow.
go over last week, 2 nights in a row. In
Wow.
fact, it went
No
right in
kidding.
front of Polaris
Wow.
in there, and it was bright enough to see. And they had 6 Chinese astronauts on it, but who's in space now? We had 13. Now we've got 10 humans orbiting Earth, as China brought back 3 of their tachionauts the other day, leaving 3 up there. Those 3 had been up there for almost 6 months. So we have 3 Chinese, 3 Russian, and 4 Americans orbiting the Earth. The big 3 superpowers orbiting Earth right now. 10 humans on this date in history. We've got the Crew 8 Dragon crew up there. Been up there about a little over a month. And then you got the Soyuz MS-25 crew up there. The 2 Russian cosmonauts on either side there are have been up there over 6 months. They went up on Soyuz 24. And Tracy Caldwell Dyson in the middle there, she waited a decade
Yeah.
to go back to space. And you know her on NASA Channel.
Right. Yep.
She's the space station life gal that was always so enthusiastically saying, above the earth, for the earth.
Right. Yeah.
And she's also the lead singer for the rock band Max Q.
No kidding.
Yeah, she
Wow.
cranks it out there. That she's really
That's neat.
good. I've seen a few videos of her there.
Wow.
And you got the Shenzhou 18 crew there. They've been up there for just 6 days. So they only had 6 Chinese up there for about 4 days, and that was probably pretty crowded. It's
Yeah,
just
I imagine so.
two buses basically of what the Tiangong space station is, where our American space station international has enough. It's room for about 7 or 8 modular homes is the way to look at it there. So 10 humans orbiting the Earth. Get out there and watch them go over in your starry skies here. And with the moon in the after midnight sky, it's a great time to go out and do some stargazing as it's warming up. And
Right.
constellation Leo's right overhead. I
Yeah.
talked about that on yesterday's show. So check out yesterday's show to get you a little star curious up there. So, John, I really appreciated our conversation here with you. Something that you want to talk about that we didn't touch on?
No, I think we hit on pretty much everything. Looking forward to the Starliner.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I'll be excited until then.
I haven't seen the weather forecast. Have you looked at the long
No.
range?
No, I haven't seen the long range.
Usually the nights are okay here. It's the afternoons that
Yeah.
can get heated up and have lightning and so forth on there. So, well,
Yeah,
I appreciate you, man. You're up to 62 launches and
Yep.
counting, right?
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm hoping to get up 65, 66 this time.
All right.
And then I'll be back in August to see you again.
Well, we'll look forward to that. Let me know, and we'll hang out together a little bit. I know you've been having some fun here at the Space Coast. Thank you for sharing your experience here on the Space Coast. John Barrile of Limestone, New York. Selvin, we have anything to button up over there on our Streamlabs broadcast today?
Everything looks good. We did have a question from Dave Stange. He wanted to know if that picture on the beach earlier was Pecan Beach.
Which beach?
Coco.
Cocoa Beach.
Was Coco.
Okay, he's on Cocoa Beach there.
Yeah.
Could be Cape Canaveral, but you go out to either one and you look to the north and you
You're going to
see
see it. Yeah.
SpaceX's launch
Yeah.
pad out there.
Yeah.
And boy, I'll be wanting to stay on the beach and see that New Glenn rocket roar off.
Yeah.
So, well, everybody, glad that you're with us today. Tell your friends that this is one of the few programs where we celebrate astronauts, space history like no other, and have wonderful guests like John Barrile on here. So, until next time, I'm Mark Marquette saying I can't wait to see you as a guest on Stay Curious to bridge the space between us. Thanks a lot, John.
Stay curious.
All right.